Hello everyone, Age of Legends back here again with another video game review, and this time I'm going to be covering Injustice Gods Among Us, the remastered version for the PlayStation 4. Take a look at that over there. A little sneak peek at the back. Alright. Um, yeah, so Injustice. I like this game a lot. It's very heavily inspired by Mortal Kombat, then again, that doesn't really say much since the studio that produced this game is NetherRealm Studios. So, the same team that brought Mortal Kombat made Injustice Gods Among Us. And again, I like it. Back in the day, I've always wanted a game where, like, either it was like all the Marvel characters or all the DC characters would go ahead against each other in a Mortal Kombat style fashion. I mean, yeah, you got that with those Marvel versus Capcom games, but, like, it's not the same as having, say, Superman go against someone like Solomon Grundy, or Green Arrow taking on someone like a Cyborg in a tournament fighter. And that's what Injustice brings us, which is just focuses on the DC roster and puts them get together in Mortal Kombat style. And as a tournament fighter game, I like it a lot. I like the roster, and it's a nice sizable roster of recognizable DC names. You got the classics like Flash, Superman, Batman, Green Lantern, Aquaman, but you also got some, maybe you could say some lesser known ones like a Hawk Girl, or like an Ares, or like like a Zatanna, and or a Lobo, things like that. So, like, in terms of a roster, roster's pretty cool. I like it. And in terms of gameplay, it plays like the Mortal Kombat, the more recent Mortal Kombat games, with the 2D playing field and everything. So it's like very easy. So the gameplay is extremely easy to control. If you're someone like me who is a really big fan of the tournament fighter games, you should have no problem getting into this one over here. So in terms of like game mechanics, it's pretty cool. In terms of like the graphics, it could be just me. I see minor differences between the PS4 version and the PS3 version. Um, but to me, they still relatively look the same. They're not better. They're not worse. So in terms of like an upgrade, it's eh. It doesn't like change anything. The game is still fun to play. At least for me, it's still fun to play. But if you're one of those people that's like, oh, I can't wait to see the improvements, I think you might be a little disappointed. Unless you got a better eye than I do. But that's my opinion on that. But what I'm more interested is the actual story of the game. And the story of the game, while it's good, could have been a little better. Um, the whole premise of this game is that the Joker tricks Superman into killing Lois and his unborn child, and that drives Superman completely insane to the point where he pretty much lays claim over the world and becomes pretty much this evil dictator. He forms like this thing called the One World Government, and he's pretty much in charge. So the Batman of this universe pulls in the pulls in goes into to another parallel universe and brings in the more traditional characters, and they take on their counterparts, which are more what's the word I'm looking for? I don't want to say evil, but more aggressive, I guess you should say. It's like since Superman is the lead villain of this movie, and the Superman in this universe that has been broken is a killer. He's dangerous. If you get out of line once, he's gonna kill you. Um, there's one scene where Shazam questions Superman. He just melts Shazam's brain. So, like, Superman is what I always wanted. What I've always said he would. Superman to me could always work as a villain because he would be the greatest villain ever because no one could stop him. And for those who can stop him, it would be a fight for you to try and stop him because he's so powerful. And that's why I think he'd be the greatest villain. And I also like the switches happen too because we have Superman's we have Superman's group, and then we have Batman's group, which is the Insurgency, which the two of them are butting heads. But what I like about it is that both groups are comprised of villains and heroes. So it kind of puts a gray area in there, which I like, because the people that we perceive as villains will never like go to that side that Superman went to. Like we see someone like Lex Luthor, who is one of Superman's greatest villain, join the sides of Batman because even Lex won't go as far, won't go to the depths that Superman has gone to the point where he will just like create the world in his own image. Like really create the world in his own image to the point where like free will is relatively abandoned, and if you even cross this man once, he's gonna kill you. Like, well, Lex is diabolical and evil. I don't see him as that diabolical and evil to the point where he would just like, oh, you fucking do that, oh, dead bitch. So I kind of like that parallel too. I love that parallel. I think it's great because to me, you really see who the true villains are and who the true heroes are when you do like an alternate dimension type thing. And I've always been fascinated with something like that. Because like in one continuity, Superman's perceived as this white bread, all American babyface. But doing alternate dimension, if something bad would have happened to this guy, he's gonna have a meltdown and go to the dark side. And that's what I think Injustice handled fairly well. Now, my main problem with this thing, after playing it, this really should have just been its own self-contained story without bringing in without bringing in the whole parallel universe angle, where you like pretty much are bringing in the other versions of these characters. I think this game would have worked so much better if it was more self-contained, and this universe was the only universe that existed, and no other universes existed, because that really takes away from the to me it takes a little bit away from the story, from a story that could have been so much better than it really was. But the fact that they made it into pretty much a parallel dimension story, it kind of like it puts little holes in there. And the fact that they gave it away and the fact that they gave it away in the opening text pretty much is like, kind of makes this whole thing futile now. Kind of makes you wonder how the sequel's gonna work out when they eventually when it comes out, in a couple of weeks from now, which I'm gonna be picking up. Injustice 2, by the way. I've seen the trailers, I've seen the gameplay. It looks pretty fun. I saw the roster, and the roster looks pretty cool too. So I'm, kind of sort of jazzed for Injustice 2 because I am curious in how they're going to continue on with the story that was established in this game. From what I heard, it's going to be more self-contained and not feature any parallel universes of the characters coming in, which I think is a good call. Because this game, even though I have criticism, it does lay the groundwork for future stories to be told that could be told in maybe a slightly better way. So in terms of the groundwork, I think it was, even though it was shakily done, it was still effectively done and to a satisfactory note, to where you could build upon it. And I think Injustice 2 is going to greatly improve upon what was established here in this first game. But for what it is, I do like the Injustice game. I like the fact that it takes from the blueprint of the Mortal Kombat game, where every chapter is dedicated to a specific character, which is what I like. Because you get the best of both worlds. Like you start off with Batman, and then you end with the good guy Superman taking on evil Superman, which is pretty cool. But throughout that, you get these cool little things that happen along the way. One of the things that I don't really care for is that throughout the storyline, there are these certain things that happen called mini games, which they're kind of dumb to me. It's like I don't know, they don't really drag it out, but it's just like, really, I don't want to do this. I just want to fight someone. You know what I mean? So like the minigame things. I mean, hopefully, if they bring them back, hopefully they can do it back. They could bring it in a more better way than what they did in this, because I don't really care for how they did it with this. But okay, so yeah, so that's my take on Injustice: Gods Among Us. All in all, I'm gonna give it a 7 out of 10. I enjoy it. I like it. It's cool. The cool factor is having the DC roster be pitted against each other, which is always cool for me. Cause something I've always wanted to see. And again, I'm looking forward to Injustice 2, and I'm really hoping that it can perfect on this one. But again, 7 out of 10. It's fun, it's enjoyable, and I like it. Well, my name is AJ Legend. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you again next time.